All right, yeah, well, excited to be back in the Valley. We got 2 left, so we get 12 days a year that we get to play, and usually most years we get 7 in the Valley, so it's always special. Really, it's been an amazing environment all year. Administration and fans, everybody's just done a great job. I mean, the stadium looks beautiful. I actually had some people in here last week that have never been to a game, and they've been a lot of different places, and they just couldn't say enough great things about the environment that we have here. So it's always a special time when we get a chance to play at home, and then it's military appreciation, as Ross said, and it means a lot anywhere, but especially here at Clemson, with very deep, just heritage here. Obviously, being a military school, and then special every year, but there's a lot going on in our world right now. So I know it's going to mean a lot to a lot of people. There's a lot of great men and women that sacrifice for all of us to be able to, do what we do. We're covering a game, coaching a game, and that, not to minimize that. We're passionate about what we do, and it's important, but big picture wise, there's a lot of things going on, and so it's a great time to be able to, honor our military and their sacrifice and their families, and so and again, Clemson just does an amazing job. So I look forward to that every year. We got a lot of military kids on our team, and so it's just always a special week. And then you're playing Georgia Tech, so a team that is really playing with a lot of confidence. They I guess they're 3 out of their last 4, made a change at D coordinator. Ironically, he played for me at Alabama. He was a walk-on tight end for me, Big Kev. Known him for a long, long time. But they're doing a lot of good things, man. I think Brent's done a great job, really instilling a lot of toughness in that team. Not just that, but a lot of belief. You don't win a game like they won at Miami without a team that's just, fighting to the end. And, that's exactly what happened, and made a couple key plays down the stretch to win that one. Offensively, they are scoring a bunch of points. They're very balanced. I think they're doing a great job, creative in what they do, getting the ball to their playmakers. I mean, they've got, three receivers that really jump out at you, and 12 is a punt returner for him as well. He's averaging a bunch of yards in the return game, but 8, 13, those guys, it's going through them. Number 11 is a really good player. 4, but everything starts with the quarterback. I mean, he's averaging 7.2 a carry, and the quarterback run game has been a real problem. Looks very similar to Duke. From a explosive standpoint with the quarterback. He's made a lot of big plays, a bunch of big plays. North Carolina game was crazy to watch that, both sides, to see how that game kind of played out. But he's made a ton of plays, whether it be scrambles, quarterback counter, power read, a lot of different things that he's done. And then they've made a bunch of big plays downfield. I think 13. He's averaging, 17 yards of reception. He's really, really fast. He can run by you, and so he can double move you as well. So he's got a quick start to him. But just very impressed with who they are and what they've been able to do in the last 3 games in particular. They've averaged 300 yards rushing a game in the last 3 games. So that'll get your attention quick. So a big challenge for our defense, not just in stopping, their personnel, but schematically they do some good stuff, with their motions and their shifts, and they trying to, create some soft edges and get the ball in space to their playmakers and create some explosives off of that. So a really good group, and the same thing over on the defensive side. Some of these guys that we've seen and have some familiarity with them, but man, they're playing hard. They got a couple guys that are twitchy coming off the edge. They do a good job of mixing their coverages up. I don't think you can really truly predict exactly what you're going to get So you got to do a nice job of decision making and processing things against these guys. And then special teams, they've blocked 3 kicks this year, lead the nation in that. And then their punt return game has been really good as well with that number 12. So this is a team that has found ways to win games, and they are really playing well as a team. They're playing with a lot of heart, toughness, and belief, and I think that's a reflection of the job that the coaches are doing. And again, this quarterback, he's really brought a lot of life to him. So it's a big challenge for us. It's Clemson, Georgia Tech. It's always a big game, and look forward to the matchup on Saturday.
Do you have any injury updates relative to Will Shipley? I see him on the depth chart or other.
Yeah, Will, he was able to go in green yesterday, so he's trending back. So we unless we have some type of setback or something, we do expect him to get back. His head and all that's good. It's just been more a little bit just making sure his neck and everything is where it needs to be. But he looked good last night, so we'll see where he is today. Big day today and tomorrow. Be in pads both days and see how he responds to that.
Others close who had to miss last week. Anyone else that's on the verge of getting back in who had to miss last week?
We got so many guys out. You give me a name.
Caleb Phillips.
He's out. Good chance we get him back.
Sheridan.
He's out. We're down to 18 days. So I mean, we're down to days. Yes. Who we got? Sorry.
With Will probably coming back in Phil's game, how carry-wise, split-wise, anything changed in that?
Yeah, well, I think based on that's just anytime you have multiple good players, somebody gets the hot hand. That's kind of how it always is. And obviously Phil got hot last week, and we gonna make sure he has a chance to stay hot. But don't get amnesia now. Everybody gets amnesia quick around here. We've won a lot of games because of Will Shipley, and he'll remind you quick. He'll make you remember. Oh yeah, that's why we like Will Shipley. So we're excited to hopefully get him back, but Phil definitely with what he did earned an opportunity to go see if he can stay hot, and we'll see what happens. But both those guys, major weapons, and both have had big plays, and you'll be reminded quickly of why you like Shipley too.
It will almost been like 2 seasons since you played them, since you opened with them last year, different head coach and all that. How different do they look offensively with what King has been able to do?
Pretty different. I mean, actually very different. They look very confident, and then again, just quarterback plays. This kid's playing at a high level for him, and he's a coach's son. I actually met his dad. I spoke at the AFCA convention this year, first time, and his dad was being honored for something, and I had a chance to visit him. I've actually met him backstage, and he was talking. I didn't even know his son was at Georgia Tech, and he was telling me about him. And so, coach's son, his kid's a baller. He's tough. He's a tough, heady kid. Very different. Again, they're well coordinated on the offensive side. They're playing together up front. They don't have a lot of missed assignments, and then they're just smart in what they're doing. Using how they're trying to use their personnel to give themselves a chance to be successful, and it's created a lot of balance for them. And the quarterback, he's created a ton of balance. They're 200. That's hard to do. That's really hard to do in today's football. Really, really hard. And so it's impressive. And very seldom, there's some type of motion shift, bunch type of deal pretty much every single snap. So got to do a great job of recognition, communication, applying your calls, adjusting your calls, based on what you see. But when you break all the window dressing down, they're committed to what they do. When it comes to the run game, the stretch, and the counter, and all the quarterback run game that comes with it. Million screens, ton of screens. You give them any little patch of grass, they take it, whether it be an RPO or a screen or something, and they get the ball on the edge. A lot of jets to that number 8. So they've just done a nice job, I think, coordinating it and utilizing their personnel to the best of their ability. And they've grown their confidence, throughout the season. But it definitely starts with this quarterback. I mean, he's a good football player, tough kid.
With the defense, how much is preoccupation with the option game and the quarterback, with the design runs and all that stuff you were just talking about? How much does that enable the explosives down the field just because you create?
Well, you create some matchups. You create it will create some one-on-ones, and so you got to make competitive plays. The flip side of that is you got to win your matchup and create disruption in what they do. They're really good when they can stay in the pocket, if you will, and be comfortable and manipulate you. So you got to win some matchups. We got to defeat some blocks. We've got to be able to pressure the quarterback. That's not a big secret. We have to be able to affect him and not let him hold the ball, because to do some of those things, you got to hold the ball a little bit. You can't just it's somebody's got to block somebody, and so we've got to win some matchups and create some disruption, and not let them have rhythm and timing, And to this point, especially the last several games, they've been able to kind of have their way. They've done a nice job. They really have. And again, it starts, to me, I think their offensive line's played really well as a group, as a unit. But this quarterback just understands the game, and he's crafty, and he'll ride that dang counter all the way, his long time, and next thing you know, he's not even running sometimes where he's supposed to go, but he's just smart enough to find the hole, and next thing you know, it's 30 yards. I mean, he's just a good football player, and really has a good presence to him. So he's a challenge. Got to be disciplined with your eyes, with all the stuff going on and the play action and stuff that's built into it, and you got to communicate, make sure everybody's on the same page. We got, especially what we did last week. I mean, the big plays came last week. We just turned guys loose. It's one thing to have a competitive play, right? Like, Dominique made a great play last week. Guy hits him in the backfield. I mean, sometimes guys make plays. Those, you just tip your hat on those type of things. But when you got a guy running wide open because we didn't get the check to cover 3 on a pressure, those are things that frustrate you. And so we got to just do a better job this week in making sure we all have the call and the check, especially with, again, all the motions that they do, and be on the same page, because if you don't, they'll slip a guy by you in a heartbeat, and it's a big play.
It kind of sounds maybe common sense, but how important was a win for this team right now? How have you seen the effect of it already, and why was that so important and so vital for you guys right now?
Well, I mean, obviously we had some really tough losses. I mean, we just hadn't been able to finish, with overtime and one-score game and double overtime, and it's been tough losses and close, So it's good for them to be able to finish one, and certainly, helps their confidence. And not only that, you beat a really good team and probably the least available personnel we've had all year. So I just think it gives them a lot of confidence, and it's just good for them to, because they've worked hard and they've competed their tails off all year. So for them to be able to taste a little success, a little fruit of their labor there, it's certainly not a bad thing. But hey, you got to move on every week. This is all that goes away quick. Go out there and lay an egg this week. So we gotta have that same mindset and just create consistency in our performance. In some areas have been really good, and some others have been a little too inconsistent. And then certainly say it every week, but the ball security part has been the Achilles heel for us. So best thing we can do to remedy that is go get a bunch of them, right? give us a little bit of money in the bank. And that's what happened last week.
You mentioned winning matchups in this game against Georgia Tech. The physicality that you guys played with on Saturday against Notre Dame, how much of a point of pride has that been for you all in recent days?
Well, it's really that game in particular because I thought they kicked our teeth in last year, and we didn't respond. I mean, they were just more physical. They were more ready to play, and I love the fight. The guys compete, and we've competed every game. That's the one thing I can say. This team has been physical every single week. We've competed every single week. We've been in position to win every single week. That has been one consistent thing that I will say about this team. We have, especially defensively. I mean, it's a really good group, man, and we've been in position to win every single week, and it's because of, they've played hard, they've played tough, they've played physical. There's not been a week where now have we executed as well as we needed to? No, but certainly the ball security's been a problem, but physicality has not been one, and that's something that's incredibly encouraging as we kind of head to where we want to get to. It starts there, physicality, toughness. Playing in the way you got to play the game in this game of football, and I've seen that every single week. And then last week, it was great to see them be able to finish it. Really, really tough physical football game, hard game to get ready for. Really tough game as far as what they do, especially defensively with the personnel that they had. So I was really proud of our guys on both sides of the ball and that's what it takes, that type of mindset every single week. And then you got to create consistency in your performance from an execution standpoint, and that starts with consistency in your preparation.
The Clemson-Georgia Tech series isn't protected under the new ACC schedule. Just what has that rivalry meant to you, obviously, with recruiting and the proximity, just being able to play them every year?
I mean, honestly, it hasn't been that big a deal recruiting-wise. Certainly when Paul was there, it wasn't. It'll get that way maybe with Coach Key and what they're doing, but we didn't recruit a lot of the same guys for a while. But how long is this? Is one of the oldest ones, isn't it? Yeah, I mean 18. They've been playing this one a long time, and I think I'm correct. And Coach Howard used to always take the team there, right? Isn't this the team he pulled he faked he?
I think was the first time they came here or something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
He'd play there most time, and then didn't he fake everybody out and like put some guys on a train or something and had them out partying or something? And that was Heisman. That was Heisman. Okay, all right. Anyway, a lot of history with these two teams, and even since I've been here, we've had a lot of big games with these guys. So got a lot of respect for Georgia Tech. It's a great program, and they're definitely on the rise. I think they're doing some good stuff.
Dabo, we saw how hungry this team was after the NC State loss. Is there a difference being motivated by a loss versus being motivated by a win as you head into this week?
It shouldn't be. I mean, in reality, maybe with young people, it certainly can be, but it shouldn't be. If you're going to be a great competitor, if last week's result impacts your mindset for this week, if last week's result impacts your will to prepare for this week, you're probably never going to be consistently great. You're probably going to be a little more up and down. Okay, it went great. All right, I'm ready to go prepare. All right, I played bad. We didn't get the result we want. Oh, now I'm not as motivated. You're not really ever going to be great. And that's why, when I first got this job, it's one of the things we always talked about. I mean, you get a chance to play. Every game is a season of its own. You have to look at it that way if you're going to have consistency. I mean, you have to. And I know that's hard to do, but that's what you have to do when you're in the arena and you are competing at the highest level. Last week's touchdowns don't carry over to this week, and neither do the mistakes. You've got to start over. Nobody cares, and so that's why we say windshield mentality. For 15 years around here, we've talked about a windshield mentality. Like, get your eyes out of the rearview mirror. It's always about what's next. It's about what's in front of you, and you have to respect every single opponent. if you prepare this week for Alabama different than you prepare next week for Charleston Southern, you're never going to be great. If who you play, if where you play, if what uniform you wear, if what time you play, if the weather you're playing in, if the result that you got last week, if all of those things dictate your effort, your physicality, your details, your passion for this week, you're never going to be great. You're never going to be great. You're going to be an inconsistent person, and you're going to be an inconsistent player. Now, having said that, I think momentum is a great thing. Momentum is winning is a habit. And so momentum is certainly a very positive thing when you can build that, for sure.
I think I remember when you first took over,